And so can you just tell us that story? Don't you know what I am? I'm not a good person.
There's a joy worth dying for.
And you just leave alone that whole plan.
But God really found me.
I think the Lord's done something in a person's life.
I think I can do that.
As you think back over the course of your life has been like a story. And if it's a typical story, there have been times where some of the chapters in that story of your life have looked pretty dark. And it seemed like there was going to be no solution. And yet, if you trust Jesus, you can trust Romans 8:28, that God causes all things that happen, to work together for the good of those people who love him and who are called according to his purpose. And so today we've got a story from a friend of mine, a young friend of mine, somebody that I've watched grow up, who has a story that at one point looked like it was not going to turn out well. But it has turned out well. The story's not over. But this is Austin Faulkner. I've known Austin for his whole life.
Yeah.
And I've watched you grow up, and I've seen what God's done in your life. And so why don't you just kind of tell everybody, so give us a brief introduction of who you are and what your life is about.
Yeah, man. Well, my life is about Jesus. That's for one thing. I really grew up being a big time skateboarder. I've been outside like my whole life, big athlete. Me and my brother both. I have an older brother as well as an older sister. My sister kind of stayed inside more, but me and my brother, we were wild with being outside and going to the skate parks. My brother rode a bike and I rode skateboards.
I remember your brother doing those flips in the pool.
Yeah.
there was like empty pool, and he'd come up and he'd be on his bike and he'd flip over.
Oh yeah.
And just keep going.
Yeah, he was very talented.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, it was real cool. And I also held my ground with skateboarding too. I mean, I had a few sponsors at one point, and we had this crazy dream that me and Dylan were gonna move to California and make it in the action sports lifestyle.
Well, you guys were good. You're both good, because I remember watching you on the ramps too. Nice. On your skateboard. Can you still do that?
No, I mean, I'm sure I could do a few tricks like on flat ground. Yeah,
but you're not on the ramps anymore.
Yeah, it's been a while. It's been a few years. So,
well, yeah. Do you know how I know you? Do you know where our story started? I don't know if you know the story.
Friends with my mother, is that right?
Well, this was before I was born. Before you were born.
Okay.
We were brand new at the church, and we were starting a home group. First night, we said we're doing a home group Bible study. 35 people showed up, and one of those people was your grandmother, and she came to our house every Tuesday night to study the Bible with all these other people. And of course, I prayed for that group of people every single day. And what your mom wanted me to pray for was I'm not your mom, your grandmother. Yeah. She said, I've got a son who is not doing well. Would you pray for him and his wife? So of course, I was praying. I didn't know I was going to get to meet your mom and dad. But one day, your grandma comes running up to me on a Sunday morning. She says, my son and his wife are here. I thought, this is my chance. So I met him. And that day I said, hey, come over to our house. They had a little girl. Our daughter was a little girl. They came over to our house, and we talked to them about Jesus. And it was really in those next few weeks that your parents said, we're going to follow Jesus. But of course, your dad had all this stuff from his past, and he's trying to follow Jesus, but the addictions from the past were just eating up his life. And so your brother was born, and then when you were born, your dad was at about the lowest he'd ever been. And I remember your house was empty. Your mom had moved away because your dad wasn't anywhere to be found.
Yeah.
And you were born that week. And I remember coming to the hospital because here's this family in our group that I'm leading, and their lives are in shambles, and they're having a son. And that was you. But it was at that time that your dad's life turned around. Yeah. And your dad's now been drug-free for him. That's
Yeah,
his
alcohol.
story.
Yeah.
But it's been what, 20s? Well, since the week you were born, I
Yeah.
think.
Yeah, I think it lasted a little bit after I was born, but no more than after 1 year old. I mean, it was pretty much
Okay,
the same
yeah.
year that I was born.
And he's
But
doing great now.
yeah,
But that's his
yeah.
story. We'll have him tell his story another time. But your story. So tell us about you're growing up doing all this skateboarding stuff. Your brother's doing the bike stunts,
Yeah,
and you guys got involved with a group of really nice kids.
man, real nice kids. Yeah, so what happened was I was 13, 14 years old, and we were at the skate parks, and for a long time it was good, clean fun. You
Yeah.
know, we had this burning passion uh for being outside and for skateboarding, and for my brother doing the bike. But for a long time it was good and clean, man. But when we got into high school, my brother started getting in trouble. He found like a group of kids that was just kind of skipping class and getting in trouble his like sophomore and junior year. And when he was a sophomore, I was a grade below him. So my freshman year in high school, I was like 14, and I was a good kid. Like I didn't want to do those things that my brother was doing. He kind of derailed a little bit first, but and I didn't want to do that. I despised it. And then I had a good skateboard buddy because I didn't have much school friends. I had this really, really close friend of mine. His name was Holt, and at the time I probably considered him my best friend, or one of my closest friends. And he was a few years older than I, and he had a bunch of issues going on at the house with his relationship issues with his mother, and so forth. And we and the other friends that we had at the skate park, we didn't know how badly he was depressed, and just how hold that his life at home was taken of him. So he was super upset, but it was all behind closed doors. We didn't know, and he ended up killing himself. And
how old were you guys?
I was 14, and
he
he was probably like 19 or 20.
I see.
Yeah. So there's a few years age gap, but at the skate park we didn't really like care. Like we
fun.
we were just having fun, so we didn't really, it was all good, clean fun. We all liked each other, so yeah, there was different ages, but yeah, he was one of my closest friends, regardless of the age gap, and that was my first serious loss, other than like my great grandma, which I barely remember. But yeah, that was like my first real loss that I had in life, and it was so tragic. The way that I found out, and just the way that everything happened, it was so unexpected. I got pretty depressed myself. At the time, there was this really popular Netflix series, this Netflix show that was super popular in high school. Everybody was talking about, man. And it's horrible because it's this show that revolts around suicide. It's this popular show that probably everybody's heard of. It's called 13 Reasons Why.
Mm-hmm.
But my best friend had just killed himself, and I'm a freshman in high school, and everywhere I go in school, every class that I go to at lunch, I'm hearing people talking about this show. And so I can't get the topic of suicide out of my head. It's just whenever I was at school, it was constantly like reminding me, that, hey, this happened. And everybody is like enjoying this, drama TV show about it. And I'm over here like living it in real life. And so that just like really like hurt me. And at the time, I was not following Jesus. I wasn't saved. Regardless of my parents trying to, raise me in the church growing up, I was just a kid that they were just bringing me to bring me. But I didn't know Jesus in my heart. And so, like, I didn't know how to deal with that hurt in a positive manner. I knew the skate park, and I knew what the skate park offered. I knew that there were probably kids getting in trouble at school and things like that. But no positive solution for me to go about dealing with that pain. And I was really hurt. And I ended up, because of that, I would say, I ended up meeting some bad friends at school. And those friends at school were, encouraging me to skip class and stuff like that. And also at the skate park, I started hanging out with doing some of the other stuff that these other kids were doing that my parents probably wouldn't have advised. I smoked weed for the first time and had my first beer, and I was very new to that world. I had never really done any of that stuff, but I was kind of peer pressured into doing it, and I just kind of said screw it because how could life get any worse? That's how my mentality was at the time. So I kind of just said screw it.
Yeah.
And I did not know that my own actions would be so self-destructive, and like how just those small little decisions that seemed harmless at the time seemed like so just fun at the time, how where that could really take me, like how far that could take me. And this was a while ago. I turn 24 next month.
Wow, you're old.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
been a while. So,
Yeah. So this is 10 years back.
Yeah.
A lot has happened in 10 years. So,
And I would say a lot.
Yeah.
More than it should have.
Yeah. So then what happened?
Man, I would say I just continued to be depressed for a while.
Mhm.
And I was skipping class, and I was going to the skate park and getting in trouble. And that eventually turned into lying a lot to my parents. That's when the lying started, because I was doing all these things that I didn't want them to know about. And I ended up getting into truancy, so legal course of action from the school district because of my failure to attend class. I had the truancy going, and I think I got into a few fights. I even got caught with nicotine paraphernalia and weed out on school grounds. So they sent me to the secondary alternative school 3 times, which was a lot. and at the skate park was when that was just my school life, and that was the nice things of it. My life at the skate park outside of school and winter break and during the summer was pretty bad, because it wasn't just people my age and from school. It was all these adults, things, people that I were hanging around. I was putting myself in a lot of danger. And like, what I mean by that is, going to drug dealers' houses and being introduced to guns and gang activity, even just, quite a cynical lifestyle of crime. I was convinced to do things that I didn't want to do, like, stealing and just committing some crime, I would say. I was getting into trouble, man. I was not taking it easy. And while this is happening, I'm 14 years old, 15 years old, and even like 16 years old at this time. While all of this is happening, my brother, he's dealing with his own issues of himself with substance abuse, and he was not at home. He was away. And at the time,
He was living away, or he just never came home?
he went to 3 different drug rehabs.
Yeah.
And also running away from home.
Yeah.
He just wasn't there. And I don't put any blame on him at all. I made my own choices. I'm not saying that out of, grief. I'm not putting that on him, but I'm just saying, like, we both wish that we had each other, if that
Yeah.
makes sense. We were both, making decisions that the scriptures even talk about. We we don't do the things that we want to do, that we ought to do, and we do the things we know that we shouldn't do. And that was our life for a few years, every single day. We knew what we were doing was wrong.
Yeah.
And we just couldn't stop. I don't know why. We were very lost, very astray. And so what makes this story, I would say, so sad to me is, and what makes sense to me, the lifestyle that I was putting myself in, the people that I was surrounding myself with. It is by no surprise to shorten human life expectancy based on how you're living, with drugs involved, and you're out on the street and you're not at home and you're putting yourself in danger with guns and stealing and robberies, and you're putting yourself at a lot of risk. You can die or you can go to prison, and you're very far away from the Lord at that point. It's There's almost no hope left to think, yeah, he can come back. To reality, to the world of positivity, and to knowing Jesus.
Well, you had some friends you lost a lot of friends during that time in gang violence or some drug deals gone bad.
Yeah.
I hate to even bring it up, but it seems like every one of your close friends from that time isn't around anymore.
Correct. Yeah, there's a few that I can count on one hand that are still around. A few of them I know for a fact are in prison today, and they're not my friends anymore. And those are really bad choices that they made, that they decided to do. Some of them overdosed on drugs, and it was just a consequence from living and being in the lifestyle. And another consequence is, I had a lot of friends that ended up getting shot, that they died by murder.
And you were with them at the time.
I was
some of those stories that you told me.
Yeah.
Of you, where you should have. It was almost you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Tell. Can you share that?
Yeah. I can. I'm completely okay with speaking on any of my past. It's all okay.
Yeah, because it's changed. You're a new man.
It's so crazy.
Yeah.
It's so crazy. There was a time, I always start the story off with that I had gunpowder right in my eyes because of how close I was to death. That was crazy. The very reason why I got caught in the first place and arrested and really being brought into the light and like showing that I needed to change my ways, this incident that happened on the day, that's this story. I ended up, me and so were planning to rob this drug dealer, and long story short, with these events, guns are involved, obviously, and we were so stupid. We were just kids, obviously not professionally trained at the time to, be handling any firearms, and just, it was so stupid. But the person who was on my side, who was with me, and that was robbing the drug dealer, I was in the car. I was in the passenger seat. I set up the whole scenario. I set it up, and the guy was going to pick me up, and
the drug dealer came to give you guys some drugs, to sell you drugs,
yes,
supposedly.
Sell, yeah, and that was not in our mind. So he came in a vehicle, and I got in the passenger seat, and my buddy, he had a firearm, and he pointed at the guy, and the firearm was, like this, pointed at the guy in the driver's seat just right next to me. And the gun is right here in front of my face. And it wasn't. It was a revolver pistol. And what's so unique about a revolver compared to a regular pistol is because of its design. When that gun discharges, there is a brief, it comes out of the side where the bullets are. Um, and quite literally, if you stick pieces of paper next to it and discharge the gun, the paper gets obliterated everywhere. And the gun was right in front of my face, and the driver didn't want to give up anything. He was being pretty stupid, honestly. And my buddy was not playing around, and he points the gun up just a little bit above his head towards the ceiling, and shoots off a warning shot. And that pistol is like right here, and I didn't expect it at all. And I go, everything is calm, and then whoa, my ears are ringing. I can't hear anything. I got my eyes are burning. I have my eyes shut because they're burning. And
You got gunpowder in your eyes.
I realized because the gun was so close to me, I got gunpowder in my eyes, and I'm like disoriented at that point. And I was not of sober mind either. I was high and drunk. So, and we were up for like 2 days. So, yeah, that was bad. Yeah, that was really bad. My brother was in the bushes as our backup guy or whatever.
Oh, so he was in on it too.
He really just kind of wanted to make sure that I was being safe.
Yeah, I thought like that safe.
Yeah, but I can only imagine, because what makes me feel like horrible about that day is when he told his side of the story about how he was just sitting in the bushes waiting. He couldn't see anything. He couldn't, and he just hears the gunshot go off. He doesn't know what happened. And dude, what happened after that was I tried to get out of the vehicle. The buddy who had the gun, he wasn't in the vehicle. He was just outside, so he ran off. I tried to get out, and the guy slammed on the gas pedal.
And you fly out.
I didn't fly out, but I went back in the seat. It kind of jolted me back in the seat, so I didn't like.
Oh, you're still in the car.
Yeah, I'm still in the car, and the door shuts, and he doesn't slow down at all. And I, like I said, I'm super disoriented, and he's speeding in this neighborhood like a ridiculous. I don't know how fast he was going, but he was going like at least probably like 50, 60 miles an hour in a, controlled neighborhood. Like, not safe at all. There could have been a kid riding his bike or something, who knows.
Is that night? Is it in the daytime?
This is daytime. This is broad daylight. And looking back on it now, man, the drugs really just got to us. I don't know what we were thinking that this was a good idea. Mm-hmm. We got away with everything else that we did, but
so now you're stuck in this car with this guy driving through the neighborhood.
And I'm just all disoriented. Like I said, my eyes are burned. I can barely hear. And my ears are ringing, and he's speeding, and I have my phone on me. The guy with the gun, he took the driver's phone, and so this guy is screaming at me, telling me to give him the phone, and I'm like, dude, whatever. Like, at this point, I'm like, this is not even worth it. Take the phone. Like, because I know what I thought he was going to do was just call the police. Mm-hmm. And at that point, I was almost okay with that because, like I said, this whole thing was just messed up. It went from 0 to 100 real quick. And when that happened, I kind of came to my senses. And I was like, dude, this has gone way too far. So I gave him the phone. I didn't want it because I didn't want it to crash. I wanted him to just slow down. He was going so fast. So he takes my phone and he calls 911. And he doesn't slow down. He keeps driving the neighborhood. He calls 911. He kind of gives them an explanation somehow to where he just got robbed of his wallet and his phone or whatever. Like,
So he gave the money to your buddy.
yeah, completely didn't tell them about, hey, I'm a drug dealer and they stole my drugs
Right,
too.
Of course, he's not gonna.
Yeah.
You're not gonna say that.
I mean, just the fact that somebody who is selling drugs would do that is crazy and stupid in itself. And we went to high school with this guy.
So he knew who you were.
Yeah, we knew. Yeah, we both knew. Yeah. Yeah, me and my brother both knew his family for years. Yeah, yeah. And so he calls 911 and they say they're on the way, and he hangs up the phone, and then he dials another number and he calls his older brother.
How's he dialing if he's driving?
Well, he's
somehow
one hand on the wheel and just driving fast and dialing, and like I said, I am high, drunk, and I can barely hear anything. Like, my world is rocked at that point. So it's very difficult for me to like kind of cope with the situation and all this adrenaline. So he calls his brother and it's like and then he tells him what really happened. And he's like, dude, load your truck up with the boys, grab your buddies if you can and come over here.
I'm gonna beat these guys.
Yeah. And he hangs up the phone, gives the phone back to me, and he says, whoever gets here first deals with you first. And he's just driving in circles around these two streets. He's just
so that you wouldn't get out of the car.
Yeah, so I wouldn't get out of the car. And I'm like, dude, this is insane. And I didn't even start praying at this point. I'm just out of it. But we are on a street, and on one end, I see the cops coming. And on the other end, at the same exact time, this is so crazy. At the same exact time, on one end, I see the cops coming. And on the other end, I see the guy's brother full of like 5 dudes
that are coming to kill you.
Truck. Yeah. Like, I would have seriously been in trouble, big time. And how, like, they met, like, they pulled up at the same time that the cops did. Of course, they're not going to interfere with it. Right. So it was by the grace of God that the cops intervened and met at the same time. If the truck had been there, 30 seconds before the cops did, I mean, that would have been bad.
So the cops come and they grab you.
They interrogate me. They detain me on the curb, and they're talking to me for 30 minutes. And they take my phone without a warrant. They take my phone. And they let me go. I lied my butt off. And they let me go.
What did you tell them?
Dude, I don't even remember.
You just got yourself out of it.
Yeah. I don't even know how they didn't realize that I wasn't sober. I don't know what they were thinking, but they took my phone illegally without a warrant. Which later on I learned that they got a warrant to search the phone, which doesn't make any sense. But anyways, so they let me go after I talked to them for forever, and I'm like in absolute disbelief, and I'm like, I don't have my phone, and
the drug dealer was gone by now, or he's still there.
He had a full-blown panic attack. they had some, like, the medics come and like check his oxygen, and like he's just like freaking out because his car got shot and like he got robbed, and like he was freaking out too. He was scared. So it was crazy. Yeah. And oddly enough, that was not the day I got arrested. I got arrested 2 days later.
For that crime?
No.
For something else?
Yeah.
Another stupid thing.
I didn't learn my lesson then.
Oh no.
So right after the police let me go from that detainment, me and my brother and the other guy, we had a spot that we were going to meet up at afterwards, and they're waiting on me for hours.
They don't know what happened.
They don't know what happened to me, but I knew that they were going to be there. So I go over there. I walk over to this
because they're scared too.
Yeah, I walk over to this park trail, Vandergrift Park Trail, right down there outside of my childhood neighborhood. which is where it all happened. Crazy. Um, I go down there and they're there, and my brother is freaking out. He's like, "Dude, what happened? Like, I thought you were right behind." My brother said, "I thought you were right behind us whenever we started running, and we didn't know." And when I tried calling,
They're booking it out of there,
yeah,
and they turn around and you're not there.
oh,
They don't know
dude.
where you are.
And he's like, "I tried calling you and everything." I was like, "Dude, I just got done talking to the cops, and like, you won't believe what happened." And that wasn't enough. We let the night go on. We slept over it. And by this point, we were kicked out of the house. We were not welcome back home, me or my brother,
You weren't even living at your house at this point.
in my brother's car.
Yeah.
For not that long, but most of that summer.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, you know, my parents were like,
They had it. I
Yeah.
remember.
yeah,
I remember. Well, let me just interject something. During this time, my son Ian, who's 6 years younger than you, he prayed for you guys every night. Every night. Now we were all praying for you, but every night we'd go in and we'd pray with him as he's going to sleep. And Lord, have mercy on Austin and Dylan. Would you help them to come to their? I don't know what he was praying, but he prayed for you every night. He's like, what? He's 6 years younger this year. So he's about 8, 9, 10 years old all through that time. Do you think the Lord heard his prayers?
yeah,
Obviously.
so, and my mother's prayers,
And your mom's
Oh
prayers.
my God.
She was praying for you every minute.
I have another testimony in itself about that, about this tattoo that's on my arm. I'll get to that in a minute. So, me and my brother, at this point, this is the summer of 2019. In the daytime, we're partying. We're going to these college parties, these pool parties, and everything like that. And in the nighttime, we're staying up. We're barely sleeping at all. We're taking turns driving because we're so tired. But we were just like so high on the lifestyle that we were living. At nighttime, we were doing our dirty business to get our money and to like live on to keep the lifestyle going. You know, we were breaking into cars every single day and all those things, and we were robbing drug dealers, and you know, that was not our first one. That was just the first one that went bad, if that makes sense.
Right.
But I mean, thank the Lord, you know, by the blood of Christ, none of that is attached to me anymore.
Amen.
But dude, 2 days later, after that incident happened where I almost got shot, me and my brother are what's called car hopping, and that is you basically just go door to door on the vehicles, on the cars in the neighborhood, and just see if they're unlocked. If they're unlocked, you go in the car and take whatever you want, and that's how we would get like a lot of our money. And so we were car hopping, and for those next 2 days we were car hopping, and a bunch of different.
This is in the night.
Yeah,
This is middle of the night.
yeah.
People in their houses sleep in the cars on the street. You're
Yes,
checking each car.
yes, and we had guns on us, like
Now, whose guns were these?
guns that we found in cars.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, that's how we would get the guns, because people do that apparently.
They leave their gun in the car.
Yeah, unlocked with the car unlocked. So that's not wise at all. I mean, honestly,
Especially when there's kids like you roaming around.
man, there's a whole bunch of them out here that are doing that stuff, and it's crazy.
Mhm.
So, man, we're breaking into all these cars, and we have these guns on us, and we're serious, man, because we want to get high, and we want to get this money, and if anybody tries to stop us, I mean, we have guns on us, and we're gonna take care of it ourselves. Like, we were dead serious, and we both got backpacks on full of stolen stuff and drugs on us that we found like in the cars, and stolen money on us, and we had these stolen guns on us. And it's just one of these nights where we got what we deserved, for one, but it was just one of those nights where a neighbor noticed what was happening. They saw us on their house camera, literally on their house camera, recording us, you know, with masks on, getting into these vehicles, and they called the cops. It was in a real nice area, a real rich area, and I kid you not, it was pitch dark outside, and in the next moment, we we see the car passing by the street, and because it was driving towards us, we couldn't really see what the car was because the headlights, it's kind of blinding us, so we couldn't make out the vehicle until it was right beside us, and where we could see the side of the car that said, the
Police.
city, yeah, police, and he says, "Stop right there. We know what you're doing." And he's got his gun raised at us, and in about 10 seconds, the whole street is flooded full of cop cars. I mean, I guess this city was not playing around. Like,
What city was it? You don't know.
I almost don't want to say,
Yeah, okay, don't.
but it was a nice city and it was a rich area, but it was in Texas. I'll say that. But
Uh-huh.
dude, this whole street was lit up of cops. I couldn't tell you how many cop cars there were. There were so many cops, and at this point, we still hadn't been to sleep from even what happened 2 nights ago. So
Right.
we were awake for 3 days straight. We had popped LSD, so we were doing we were tripping on acid, and also alcohol and weed, and dude, we were so high, and we were up for 3 days, exhausting ourselves from this lifestyle. Barely ate, and have all this illegal stuff on us, and these cops are swarming us. And I had 2 guns on me. I brought one with me, and I found another one that night. So I had 2 guns on me, and my brother had 1 gun on him. And his car that had a whole bunch of stolen stuff was parked a mile down. And the cops, I mean, were obviously very aggressive, and they shoved us up against the car and immediately arrested us. And at that point, that was when I knew I was screwed. Like, my heart just sank in me. Like, other than the acid, like, you can't really do anything about that. But like, I felt very sober minded by the time they put me in the cop car. And they took us to jail, and we were on that stuff in jail, which was crazy. They took us to jail, and they ended up. We were a few cities out. They ended up transferring us to Tarrant County Jail, and we stayed there for a little bit. But I remember at that point that I was so hopeless. This is where the turning point happens. This is the pivotal point. I went through so many things that should have led me to think, hey, maybe I should probably stop doing what I'm doing. Like seeing my friend get killed right in front of me, or losing 7 friends in 3 months. Like,
You lost 7 friends in 3 months.
yeah.
I remember. Yeah. Anyway, go on.
And there was something else that also happened. I just don't really feel comfortable saying on camera, but
Yeah.
something really bad happened to me, and I don't know why. Like, I never thought to myself for 1 second, maybe I shouldn't be living like this. Have you thought about your mom, Austin, or your dad, or like why you have to hug your brother every day because y'all are alive one more day, why your mom is calling you every day to see if y'all are alive and okay, like how many people you hurt, and how many just relationships that you destroyed. Our family wanted nothing to do with us, our whole family. I mean, nobody could trust us.
I remember you guys
Yeah.
couldn't be home because you stole everything that your parents
Yeah.
owned.
Yeah. And for whatever it was, when I went to jail that night, about 3 days later, I was just sitting with all that on my conscience, and I was just sitting with this emptiness. And I don't know what, I mean, I do. It was the Lord, but I don't know really what made me remember this next part, what caused me to think this into conscious, into present thinking. but I was lying down trying to sleep in my jail cell in jail, and I just remembered, hey, like my mom like tried to raise me to grow up in the church. Like my mom tried to bring me up in the church, and like she prays, she prays a lot. I know she does. I've seen her read her Bible, and I know that she prays, and like maybe I should try that right now. Like right, like, if I was gonna pray, that would be the time.
Now's the time.
So I do, and I it was something super short, like, Lord, like, I don't know if you're real. I even doubted his existence because I mean I was so far. Lord, I don't know if you're real, but like, can you please help me? I have nothing left. I want help, and that's all I said. And I said, Amen. That's all, and I went to bed. I finally went to sleep, and I had the craziest dream that I'll never forget. And basically, the dream was I instantly appeared on my childhood street that I grew up on. I was standing in front of my childhood home. Man, I had no clothes on. I didn't have any food next to me. I didn't have any water, and I had nothing. I had absolutely nothing. And my brother wasn't even next to me. It was just me. Um, and I was scared because of that. I realized I didn't have anything, and that I was scared. But I saw my childhood home, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna walk up to the house and walk inside. I guess that's what I should do. It's my house. And I take a few steps forward. I get onto the front lawn, and I realize then that there's a for sale sign, a for sale sign like on the house, man. Uh, I didn't know what to think. I didn't know what to think whenever I saw that.
And this is in your dream.
Yeah, this is the dream.
Mhm.
But it felt so real. Like it was so powerful. I am able to tell you this dream right now.
So you see this for sale sign is painful because it's like I've lost my home. Is that what the significance was?
It was more than just losing my home, because I looked over, and a car appeared, a family car, and it was all my family members, including my brother, and everything like that. And they were driving away.
And you're left out.
They left town, they sold the house, and it started raining. It started storming, raining, and I have absolutely jack squat. Absolutely nothing. And then I woke up. And I was like sweating, shaking, like I was scared in real life. Like I instantly knew that dream was from God. It was so undeniable because of how real it felt, how deep. Like I've never had a dream so deeply rooted with emotions before. It was, I mean, even now, 6 years later, almost 7 years later, I can tell you with extreme detail that dream. I never remember dreams, and I can remember this one like it was last night. And so that's what I took from that was, yeah, if I kept living the way that I was going to live, if I kept living the life of a criminal, that
You're gonna lose everything.
I was going to lose everything, and even my brother.
Yeah.
And my brother means everything to me, like,
yeah.
We're best friends. Like,
You guys are great buddies.
Yeah, and that's it. And so, like, thinking about that, all that, like, greatly upset me. So when I woke up from the dream, I was very upset, and I immediately got on my knees. Like I got out of the jail cell bed and just on the floor, got on my knees, and instantly like broke down and asked God to redeem me. I said, Lord, can you please help me? I want to live a new life. I don't want to keep doing what I've been doing. Can you please save me, Lord? If it just means that I accept Jesus Christ as my Lord and Savior, then I do. Please forgive me. And I somehow after that went back to sleep. And when I woke up, the strangest thing, I was happy. I was filled with like an overwhelming amount of happiness. Like I was filled with glee, like absolute joy.
Just because the Lord had touched
Yeah,
your life in
yeah.
that moment.
Yeah, literally. Like I was so happy. I mean, it's crazy range of emotion that was felt during all that night and the dream and giving my life to Christ that night. I went back to sleep and woke up the happiest man on earth. Regarding like disregarding the situation that I was in.
You're in jail.
Like,
You're happy.
I'm in jail. I'm facing it's not like I just stole a piece of bubble gum. I mean, I'm facing big boy years, big boy time. I've had like 12 charges, and I knew that my brother was also in jail facing big time as well.
Right.
I had every reason in the world to be upset. And I'm getting up and I'm going to get my breakfast and my lunch and my dinner all throughout the day. People are looking at me crazy. Like, what the freak? Like,
Why are you so happy?
yeah, what is up with this guy? Do you not know where you're at right now? Like, it was so crazy, man. Like, oh my gosh, it's so crazy.
So
And,
you're in jail for how long at that point?
dude, I'm only in jail for like 2 weeks.
Because who bails you out?
My mom, under one condition, and there's the only reason why she didn't let me rot in there any longer. Well, for one, I kept on telling her that I found the Lord.
And she's thinking, yeah,
And
right.
that's awesome. Yeah, right. But also, like,
Maybe.
I've never said that to her before. So, yeah. But my lawyer ended up extremely advising that I start school on time. This was at the end of summer, and like,
Oh, it's your senior year.
yeah, and I'm about to be a senior in high school, and she's like, we got to get him out of here so that he can start school on time.
Yeah.
He's 2.5 years behind in school. He's got to do this to make his profile look better. My lawyer was looking at the bigger picture. If we can bail him out and get him started on school, like doing good, that'll look good on his profile, and like have a heavier influence to stay out of prison and get like probation or something when the time came to settling for the case.
Yeah.
So that is crazy. So and they bailed me out, and I literally got bailed out at 4:00 in the morning on the first day of school.
And went straight.
I went
to class.
straight to Sam Houston High School. I went straight to class. I went home, and I was like used to the jail food, whatever. I tried to eat like a granola bar. I threw up. Like it's so weird, and I was just not feeling good because of that.
Well, you'd been high for how many days before that? So
yeah, exactly. So this was so crazy, and I'm like, whoa, I gotta show up to class. Like I did not want to do that, but I was so thankful to be out. Like it was awesome. So
your brother was out then too? Or are you still?
My brother did get bailed out at the same time. Yes, They didn't leave him in there. They thought, well, they didn't want to show favoritism or anything like that.
Right.
That's my best assumption or whatever.
Right.
So why not?
But he didn't get the charges against him that you got against you.
No, and
he was in the bushes.
I'll explain that right now.
Oh,
yeah, for that.
Oh, for the first one. But yeah, so what?
So I'll explain because this is another crazy story, another testimony of how the Lord saves me. So we got arrested, me and my brother together. We got arrested together for stealing and breaking into the cars, and we had the guns on us, right? Those guns were reported stolen, so we got the firearm and breaking into cars and like some drugs on us. And that's what we got caught for that night. But remember, I said 2 days before that was when the robbery that had happened that went wrong, right? So on that day of the incident, how they called the police and they let me go and they took my phone illegally, they filed a report that day. So before I got arrested, they filed the police report for that robbery precisely 2.5 days before the day of the actual arrest with me and my brother. So they were two completely different cases. So I don't hear a single word about that case for almost a whole year. I tell my lawyer about it when she was helping me deal with the firearm and breaking into cars, and I was my senior in high school. I told her about it because she needed to know to best prepare myself. I was living clean and I wanted to do the right thing. So I told her what happened. I was like, hey, just so you know, this might come up. This might happen. So she was like, you're absolutely right. This is definitely going to come up. You're not getting away with this. If you talk to the police on this, they're coming after you. So I don't hear a single word from anything, from the police or nobody about that situation for a whole year, right? I already get fully processed with this first case that I got that technically got filed after the robbery, if that makes sense. So they gave me community service to do for that first case, and they gave me a probation sentence. I got very blessed that I had a good lawyer. They gave me a 4-year probation sentence. So I got put on that. And I was doing my community service after school one day. This was in the middle of school, like second semester or whatever. And my mom calls me and says, hey, police are at the house. They said they have a warrant for your arrest for
that robbery.
Yes, for the robbery. This is almost a year later. And they finally issued a warrant. That whole time they were investigating and figuring it out and trying to see what was on my phone and all that stuff. So it took them a long time, but they finally issued the warrant, and I got arrested. And my parents immediately bailed me out because, like, as soon as they could, because I was doing the right.
Been doing good.
I was doing the right thing. I didn't deserve to do that. I was in school, and I got my driver's license. I had a part-time job. I was in school.
They want you back in school.
I was doing all this, and I was involved in the church that I was going to. And I already got baptized. Like I was doing awesome. I was doing the next right thing for the next right reason. I was doing the good thing. And so, yeah, we're gonna get you out as soon as possible. Just go and turn yourself in. So that was probably the most humiliating thing, was driving home and like forcibly getting arrested in front of my mom.
You've been living for Jesus for the whole year.
Yeah.
And now you're headed back to jail.
Yeah.
For something.
But I did it though, which was.
Oh, you didn't go back to jail?
No, I did.
Oh yeah.
I did it.
Yeah.
I'm glad that I did the right thing. Looking back on it, I would not have done it any differently.
So you go to jail, they bail you out, and now you're waiting for the court date.
Yeah. Yes.
For that original
for the robbery.
gun in your face situation.
For the robbery gone wrong. So my probation officer says whenever they bailed me out of jail and I go and check in with my probation officer for the original case, he's looking on the computer and looking at all this information. He knows I had to go to jail for this. And he's like, dude, you're about the luckiest dude on the planet. He's like, dude, that aggravated robbery charge that police report was filed 2.5 days before your arrest for the other case. And mind you, I got arrested with a theft of firearm, which is a felony, a firearm-related felony in Texas, which they don't play with. And
it's just crazy they give you community service.
Yeah, probation. Yeah, I had a good lawyer. I had a real good lawyer, which was a blessing. I mean,
that's unbelievable.
Yeah, it's awesome.
So then he's your attorney then is saying
my probation officer
is saying, man, you've got.
He said, you missed a 25 to life prison sentence by a 2.5 day difference, because that aggravated robbery charge, that police report was filed 2.5 days before your arrest for the other stuff. If that had happened, if that police report had been filed any time after that arrest, they would have considered it a violation of your probation, which is violating a felony probation with another firearm related charge.
Right to prison.
And there's no way that they would have given me a probation sentence for that. There is no way. I would have been screwed for sure.
And so now now remember, this is where COVID
Yes.
comes, and you're supposed to get your court date,
Oh
but
my
because of
gosh.
COVID, they keep postponing it, and you've got a whole, I mean, it's a year. You're just like, what is going to happen to me?
Yes. Yeah.
But it kept you out of trouble.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah. It kept me out of trouble. I mean, I was on probation for the. I was on probation for the first thing, the theft of firearm and breaking into cars, and I was also awaiting my court date for the aggravated robbery. And
Okay, so that's the exciting part of the story. So tell us about the heading to court. Well, I guess you're doing this online. You're
yeah, because of COVID.
because
Yes,
of COVID. So
I
you're
drove
doing
to my
your
lawyer's office.
okay. You go to your lawyer's office, and I don't remember that part of the story. You drive to your lawyer's office and tell us what happened on that day, where you're in your mind you're going to prison for.
Oh yeah.
You're going to prison for 10 years.
Oh, dude, I'm at the Parks Mall. Like I'm shopping for shoes, and my lawyer calls me out of nowhere, and she's like, "Austin, just so you know, your court date is next week, and just so you know, they have given me insight on what's going to happen. The judge wants to give you 10 years in TDC, not probation. So I'm gonna try to
TDC means
prison.
prison. You're going to prison for 10 years.
Yeah." She's like, I'm gonna try to get you probation, but I don't know if there's anything that I can do. And everybody's at work. Nobody can take off work. All my family and everything. I drive there by myself to Fort Worth at my lawyer's office, and I say the most passionate prayer that I've ever prayed. I'm like, Lord, like, I know that I'm guilty. If this is your will, you say you're with me wherever you go. I accept this punishment, but if there is any more mercy left for me, Lord, will you please find a way to spare me? Can you please keep me out of prison? I've already changed my life around. I've already done all these things. Why would it make sense to strip it all away and just go to prison after doing all this? Like, it doesn't make any sense. So I'm just praying so passionately that over and over again, crying, drive myself to my lawyer's office, and I'm nervous as all get out. And I drive there, and we get there, and it's a Zoom call, court date meeting with the judge, and on the computer screen, we meet, and the judge gives me 10 years in TDC. And before that they could finalize the paperwork and have the prosecutor sign off on some stuff, they were like, Austin, there has to be an intermission due to an
That's
emergency.
right. You said that he had the gavel up. He's bringing the gavel down, and they say somebody whispers something to him.
Yeah. There was a lady that came on screen and like whispered something to the judge, and
Well, he's got the gavel in his hand, right?
yeah, literally.
So he's pronounced this. You've got 10 years prison time.
Yeah, heart is in my stomach.
He puts up his gavel, and somebody walks to the screen and says, "Hey, can we talk a second?"
I can't remember if he was actually holding the gavel or if he was
That's what you
signing
told me.
paperwork.
Yeah.
But it was it was a while ago, and I could have been saying that as like a reference, but, but either way, he told me, and like my heart was in my stomach, and I was like, oh my gosh. But he was about to finalize it, and they have to do paperwork. So there was a lady that came on screen pretty much right after he said that and whispered something in his ear, and he said, Austin, or we're going to take an intermission due to an emergency or whatever. And I thought it was going to be like 5 or 10 minutes. Dude, we're in there for like an hour, like almost like an hour and a half, like something crazy. And I'm just sitting there with this news in my stomach, not knowing what's happening.
You're sitting
like,
there with your attorney.
Yeah.
Watching the screen, waiting for this judge to come back on.
Yeah, I mean, I'm crying. Like, I'm just like, oh
You're going to
my
prison.
gosh. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And they finally get back on the screen. Excuse me. And he goes, Austin, due to an unfortunate emergency, the original prosecutor that was going to help sign off on this court date, on this case, had to go to the hospital due to a family emergency. We had to go and pull the or we had to randomly select a prosecutor that was closest nearby to help fill this in so that we could get this taken care of.
A prosecutor who doesn't know anything about the whole situation.
Doesn't know anything. A prosecutor, just whoever they can get to near, like quickest.
We need somebody, come on.
Yeah, somebody. And that the prosecutor that they pulled in was the same prosecutor that met me for my first case and gave me probation on the first case. She already knew me. She already was familiar with me, and she already knew that I changed my life around. She already knew that I was doing good, which gave it like that much more persuasion, where the other prosecutors didn't know anything.
So her job is to get you in prison, but she knows some of the backstory.
Yeah.
And so she's got a little mercy.
Yeah. And they end up changing their mind. They're like, Austin, like we're gonna give you probation instead. We're gonna give you 10 years probation instead. You're not going to prison today.
What you want? 10 years probation or 10 years in prison?
So, dude, that was the craziest. Like that was one of the craziest moments of my life. Like, oh my gosh, that definitely makes up part of my life.
So who had to go to the hospital to get you free?
Oh, dude, I don't know. I
know
what
you'll
happened.
never know.
It could have been something bad that happened. I don't know.
But you think, did God have anything to do with that? I mean, that poor person ends up in the hospital. So the prosecutor has to go there, and they're thinking, God, why are you being so mean to me? And it's because.
And I have no idea if that prosecutor and family knows like what happened.
They have no idea.
No, I'm pretty sure they don't.
The person in the hospital had no idea.
Yeah.
And here's this kid, 24-year-old man of God, walking around free because of what happened at that moment.
Dude, I got one more testimony, which is that really ties this all together. This is crazy.
Yeah, tell us.
When I first went to jail, when me and my brother got arrested together, and this is when I gave my life to Christ, and I was in there for 2 weeks before I got bailed out for school. There was like a pastor that came by on the Wednesdays at the Tarrant County Jail to do like a Bible study, and they gave out little pamphlets. I was able to get a Bible from the library, but they gave out Our Daily Bread pamphlets, the devotional little things, and I didn't even start on the first page. I just opened it up. I had no idea what I was doing. I just opened it up and picked it, and the devotional, I can't remember exactly what the message was, but the devotional was based off of the scripture, Jeremiah chapter 31, verse 15 through 17. I have it verse 16 through 17 tattooed on my arm, but really it's 15 through 17. And this is what it says. A voice was heard in Ramah, lamentation and bitter weeping. Rachel is weeping for her children. She refuses to be comforted for her children because they are no more. So there's a mother that's like crying for her kids because in this story her kids are dead, like actually physically dead, and it's horrible. And it goes on to verse 16 and 17. Thus says the Lord, restrain your voice from weeping and your eyes from tears, for your work shall be rewarded, declares the Lord. And they shall return from the land of the enemy. And there is hope for your future, declares the Lord, and your children shall return to their own territory. And this was the first ever segment of scripture that I read when I gave my life to Christ. The first ever, when I was able to get the Bible. I hadn't even opened it yet. I waited to get the devotional, and this was not even the beginning of the devotional. I just opened it up. This was the message. These were the verses. I instantly knew exactly how I wanted to apply it, like how I could interpret this for my life. I instantly realized this is my mother that was crying for her two sons, me and my brother. Like, we were spiritually dead in our sin. We were so lost and so far away and so astray. it became my favorite verse. And when I got out of jail, I got a part-time job, and I didn't tell anybody about this. I saved up and I got this tattoo, and I didn't tell anybody about it till I got the tattoo. And the first person who I showed this to is my mom. And she says, "Austin, that's the exact segment of scripture that I prayed over you and your brother every single day since you were 14.
Amen.
Like, I was 17, like almost 18 when I got this. Like, that was absolutely mind blowing to me.
It is mind blowing.
I can't even believe it, dude. Like, it was one of the craziest realizations. Me and my mom just sat there, like, we didn't even know. We were both smiling, laughing ear to ear. Like,
Nice.
that was, dude, man, I'm in awe. Every single day I think about this, and I'm just in awe because there's nothing that I could have done to. God sat back and said, "I planned it the whole time."
I know.
Like, dude, it is crazy. Like, it's so. At first, it used to be so hard for me to say this, but I can't take back. I don't think I would want to have rewrote my story differently. I don't. There's a lot of pain that I had to endure. I lost so much, and I caused so much pain and did so much. And for a long time, I lived with this, like, guilt. But if it hadn't happened like this, I wouldn't be who Christ made me to be today. Like, I if that makes
He's
sense.
redeemed you. I mean,
Yeah.
I've seen it, Austin. It's what your mom prayed for. It's what we prayed for. It's what so many people have prayed for. And not only you, but your brother. Your brother's following Jesus too. He's married. He's got, what, 2 kids now?
He's got 2 kids now.
2 kids.
Yes.
And, I mean, your whole family is a story of redemption. Your whole family, I mean, where your parents came from and where they are now. And even your dad texted me for Thanksgiving and just praising Jesus because he's free too. Yeah. And in fact, he's ran like 100-mile. What was his?
He just ran his second 100-mile trail race. Yeah. He's an absolute athlete freak, which reminds me that I went from doing all this crazy stuff to I'm going to be doing my first bodybuilding show this Saturday.
First what show?
Bodybuilding show.
Bodybuilding show.
Yeah. This Saturday.
Okay, so this program won't air until Lincoln will put it on next week. So by that time, you'll have some pictures of you in the bodybuilding show, right?
Possibly.
That we can put in here. Okay.
I am getting pictures, yeah.
Okay, well, send those to us so we can put them on the podcast. And everybody can see your oiled up tan body.
Okay. Yeah, but and God has searched me far and wide. Like, I can't tell you how many times I prayed that, and I always thought about what is my purpose? Like, what is going on? And I think God is saying, whatever you do, Austin, do it with me. Let me, guide you. You don't have to worry about what is to come of tomorrow. Like, stop stressing so much about what your career is going to be, no, just follow me. And, like, that's it. Like, just live for me. Like, that's it.
So how does a guy who's been daily doing stuff that's bad, partly just because it's fun to do bad stuff in your mind at that time, how do you, I mean, obviously none of us is perfect, but you walked from, it was like the light switch got turned on, the darkness was gone, and from that day, I don't think you've ever gone back. Have you had any, you've been drug free since?
That is not true.
That's not true.
No, that is not true.
Okay, so can you tell us? I mean, you're not doing drugs now.
No, I'm not. Absolutely not.
So, tell. I mean, there's people who are listening to this who are going, "I wish God did that for me. I wish I could be free,"
Oh,
but they think they can't. So, can you give some advice to people who are they're at the point right now that you were at in 2019, where it seems hopeless.
I think if I had any regrets, it would be that I tried to grow up too fast. You cannot force that. You can, especially on God's timing. Like patience is something that you have to pray for and just learn. You don't just like get the know-how of how to be put all together and you give your life to Christ and all of a sudden everything is like super easy. That is not it.
That's not the case.
I one of the first lessons that I was taught when I started my walk with Christ was my pride getting in the way. I said, God changed my life. I'm a better person now. I can do things on my own, and
You're proud of it.
I'm 18 years old, and I moved out of my parents' house, and I got my own apartment. I'm an adult, and I can do what I want, and I fell right back on my face,
Mm-hmm.
and I started smoking weed again, and I started drinking again. But I will say this: he never took his hand off me, and especially like I don't know how to explain it. There were probably two-ish times, yeah, two times where I got drifted away, and I went back to the skate park. I thought I was strong enough. This was the pride getting in the way. I thought I was strong enough, and it's also naive. It's not just pride; it's being naive. But I thought I could still do the skateboard thing without all the trouble, and I was not strong enough on my own. I tried that on self will to stay away from the trouble. I should have known better to not go back, but I went back, and sure enough, I fell into smoking again and drinking again. And because of that, my faith was shaky, and I walked away from the Lord for a little bit. And in that time, I found a girl, and I got deeply attached with this girl, and it became an unevenly yoked relationship because we're together for almost 2 years, and God is calling me back, like, "Hey, what are you doing? Like, this is not the plan that I had for you. You need to come back to me." And He really like made me realize that what I was doing was just wrong, and I wasn't living for Him anymore, and I wasn't who I was whenever I first gave my life to Him, and I felt so bad, and I wanted to just come back home and do the right thing again, and I did that, and when that happened, I realized that I couldn't be with this girl anymore, and we struggled so hard to stay away from each other, but we eventually were able to disconnect that. But and the enemy really used that to keep me grounded and staying away from the Lord, and that was like so deceptive and like made me really struggle with a lot of like sexual immorality and just things that the enemy really likes to implant onto the youth because we are so weak when it comes to this thing. The temptation of sexual immorality is the only sin that the Bible says to flee from and to not battle, not combat, but flee. And that taught me to truly take refuge in the Lord. When He says that His dwelling is a safe place, that's where I learned that was learning how to take refuge in that, because every single time I tried to combat it, I would always fail.
But even that,
Yeah.
God, this is where we started. Romans 8:20. God causes all things to work together for the good of those
Yes.
who love Him and are called for His purposes. And that girl, I won't mention her name because I don't want to say anything, but that girl, God used your sin with her in your breakup with her to bring her here,
Yeah.
and she surrendered her life to Jesus,
Yeah.
and we baptized her here. I don't know, probably a year or two ago,
Yeah, she got saved. Yeah.
and she's she's still. We're all learning, and
Yeah,
I think this is
she is learning.
we're learning, and we're not perfect people, and
No.
we got 2 steps forward and 1 step back, and we confess, Lord, I feel like we've failed, but the Lord has been the progress of God has been working in your life. He's been bringing your life to higher level, and then you're not there yet, and I'm not there yet, and she's not there yet, but He's not done yet. The story's not over.
We keep learning, and that's something I'm very grateful for realizing now. Like, while I know that I'm very young, and even though I've known Jesus for 6 years, that is extremely novice. Like, I'm grateful to realize and know that there is no like prestige, max out level of intimacy with the Lord. You will continually getting closer and continually getting closer, and that's also the exciting part too. Is like that is so good to know that like you can just constantly keep growing and strengthening your relationship with the Lord. There's not this cap off. Okay, I've done it all. And that's pride capping it off. That's what happened to me.
Right.
That's how I ended up kind of going away again. But He used all of that and kept me safe the whole time. He used all of that to make me learn what I know now, and I'm humbly confident that all I want to do is just follow the Lord. I'm done with this back and forth thing. It's not fun, and every time I try to do everything on my own, I always end up drowning and failing, and I can't like do what Peter did on the water.
Yeah.
I can't,
yeah.
Because or when David, he took his eyes off the Lord for 1 minute after everything great that he had did. He took the eyes off his Lord for 1 minute and looked at a woman, and that was his downfall, and that caused his great sin.
Yeah,
right there.
Right there.
It does. That kind of show. It doesn't matter how great you are. At the end of the day, you are just a man, and you need the Lord in your life. Otherwise, you try doing it on your own, and you will fail. Yeah. And the enemy knows that. You have to armor yourself with the Lord every day.
And you are.
I've gotten into the habit, man, of I can't even go to the coffee maker first. As the moment that my conscience realized that I'm awake from sleeping, that I'm awake, I go into prayer, and it's the last thing I do before I go to sleep too. That's great. To where I know that I'm dwelling in the house of the Lord day and night, 24/7. Because otherwise, the enemy will use any given moment to try to attack me and slip up.
So yeah. You're 24 years old. You got something like 20,000 days before you turn 80, and you got all kinds of dreams. You got 5 more years of probation, right? 4 more years. So
my halfway mark is actually next March.
Okay, so this coming March, you're gonna be halfway through your probation.
Yes, but I can ask to get off. I may be able to get off on my halfway mark.
Wow.
So I'm going to be praying for that.
Okay, so if you're free from probation, and right now, you're obviously not wearing one of those ankle things or anything like that, but you still have this ball and chain to some degree that you can't go out of the county without checking with your. You got some things that you got to do. But if you're totally free, which you're going to be, whether that's next March, we pray it's next March. But what are you dreaming of?
Oh, dude, I've been thinking about this for a while. There's 2 places I want to go, and it's with my dog. I want to take my dog probably to the mountains somewhere, like Colorado, or just like to Galveston Beach. I want to go to the beach too with my dog. Like, I've been able to travel a few times with permission, but like, I don't even know, because I've had to have this small mind for so long, and God put me on probation to keep me in check. Like, it's crazy. So
that's one thing. You said there's one more thing.
I would absolutely love to travel not a local mission. I want to go and travel on a mission trip.
coming with me?
I've never been on a mission trip before, and I've seen.
Well, I've
Like-
invited you for a lot of years.
Yeah, I know, and I want to go. And it's like, dude, that was one of the first things I got upset about when I first came to Christ. But I was on probation. These people, my friends, where they were going, I was like, man, I want to go so bad. But I realized, I knew that like God was like, hold on.
So if the Lord lets you, if you get free from probation, you're going to Japan with me next year.
Yes, I would absolutely love to. And
You guys heard it. He said yes.
Next year is the craziest. Like that is so soon.
Oh.
So
I
I
know.
gotta.
Well, the Lord knows, and whether it's 6 months left or 5.5 years left, the Lord's got you, and He's proven it to you. And part of what He's doing in your life, just like you said, is from the moment you're up in the morning to the moment you go to bed at night, your eyes are on Jesus. Because if you take your eyes off Jesus for a minute, you're down under the water, and it doesn't work. Austin, I'm so proud of you, man. Our family loves you so much. I love you so much, and we prayed for you so much, and it just seemed like there was going to be no breakthrough. It looked like you were going to prison.
Yeah.
And it looked like you and your brother were going to be messes for your life. I just thought, is there any solution here? But the proof of the Lord's work in your life is in you. I mean, He's done a miracle in your life. You are walking with Jesus as a man who's free from the past life of sin. That's a testimony. That's a powerful testimony.
Thanks.
So glad. So thanks for
glad.
being here with us today.
Yeah.
And
absolutely.
so these people who are watching, they're hearing, some of them maybe for the first time, that Jesus is the answer. If it weren't for Jesus, where would you be right now?
In a coffin or in a cell.
Yeah.
Or on
Yeah.
the street. Some people never get caught, and they continue to live that life, and they're miserable for the rest of their lives. Even if you never get caught, even if you continue to do the wrong thing and you never get caught, the enemy likes to keep those people in their comfortability because it keeps them away from the Lord. And that is just another deception. And they will end up miserable.
Okay. So what's your last bit of advice for those people who are listening right now?
To give your life to Jesus. Because even if I hadn't read a word out of here, or if nobody told me about Jesus, my experiences from life alone is a testimony, a documentation that Jesus Christ is real, that God is real. It is inevitable. Nobody could shake that from me, and I am willing to die for that any given day.
Glory, honor, fame to His name, eternal flame He came.